We finally got another Hisuian character in Pokémon Masters as Sabi has made her way to Pasio. Then in this event she's actually paired up alongside Raifort, and oh boy, it's a really funny one. So things start off with Sabi and Raiperior having one of their fun little chases, in which the other Diamond Clan members have met up with her already. And yes, I know I was excited to have another Hisuian character in Pokémon Masters. It is kind of interesting that we have yet to see another Pearl Clan member added aside from Irida, so I'm hoping that maybe at some point in the rest of this year we'll see that addressed, but for now we find out that Sabi has only recently arrived, and when she's asked to assist in investigating the space-time distortions that are happening on the island, she responds saying that she has something else to do and runs off to play elsewhere, at which point we catch up with things at the Pasio Academy where Raifort, or actually I guess her name is pronounced Raifort, is teaching history class. Very funny though, she says that actually because Pasio is brand new because it's an artificial island, there's really nothing for her there because she really loves the past. She's actually being forced to teach here because Clavel caught up with her and brought her in. So she thinks that this is all going to be another monotonous job. That is until Sabi and Raiperior burst in and disrupt the class. Very interesting as Raifort immediately susses out her appearance as being from Hisui, because we really only got to see her as somebody who was investigating the treasures of ruin in Paldea, despite the fact that her outfit is littered with references to various other legendary and mythical Pokemon. So that is really neat getting to see her flex her historical expertise. And because Ray was in her class, remember he's getting a modern education now, he is able to help her understand that Sabi actually came from the past because of all these space-time distortions. And that immediately sets up a really funny dynamic between the two new characters that have been added, because we know Raifort as somebody who was relatively impatient and a bit abrasive with how she spoke, and especially with how she made us, the player character, investigate all around Paldea to discover the secrets of the treasures of ruin. Meanwhile, we know that Sabi is somebody very important and very well versed with the legends of Hisui, but she is also literally a child and just wants to play and have fun. Remember in Legends Arceus, to get anything done we had to play chase with her, and that was a fun little experience, because I do think she is a really fun character. However, Raifort is not charmed in the slightest. I think she's getting kind of angry. We might see her hair start twitching again. Anyway, there is also the neat little parallel drawn between them in that Raifort is somebody who always looks back toward the past, meanwhile Sabi can literally see the future. Also, Clavel is there to try and wrangle everybody together and say like, hey, you gotta get back to doing your job. And it is also funny, I never realized just how short Clavel was, or maybe this is supposed to be Raifort being very tall, but I would totally believe Clavel being short because how else was he gonna fit in with the cool kids as Clive? I mean, these are two separate characters. After class, Raifort catches up with Florian and Arvin, where Florian reveals himself as being president of the paranormal club at the school. And also there is a detail that's brought back to our attention that this Florian is actually from a different universe as everybody else, because basically every other Paldean character we see here is from the Scarlet Academy. Meanwhile, in order to have both Florian and Juliana in the game, they had to be from different universes. Just then, Sabi shows up again and still won't tell Raifort anything about the past, that is unless she plays a game with her, which again we saw Raifort does not have the patience for, so instead she decides to take Florian with her to investigate the ruins on the island. Sabi still decides to tag along to see. And we visited these ruins on Pasio before. They're all artificial recreations of actual ruins that exist somewhere else, which could still maybe prove to be interesting to investigate, and which Sabi also has a connection to, being clairvoyant, and that also ties everything together and why Sabi wants to play with Raifort. That is apparently because she had a vision of them all having fun together. And I know that we get a little tease of Sabi potentially being clairvoyant, or sometimes she'll say like, ooh, is that actually the case? Maybe I can't really see the future. But there are a good amount of pieces of evidence in the video game to suggest that yes, she is actually psychic. I think that bringing it up as a possibility is more so just her having fun. But yeah, it is kind of funny to imagine her actually faking it and just using it as an excuse to play with everybody. Though just when you think Raifort has had enough of everybody, that is when Brandon shows up. One of the greatest adventurers in any Pokemon game, or just Pokemon in general, because he literally has been everywhere and seen so many things. He straight up just caught all the Reggie Pokemon, a feat much more impressive than the Treasures of Ruin. And once again, Raifort is a little more hopeful that he'll give her some useful information because he's an actual adult, but he also gives her the condition that he'll only tell her everything if she joins him on another of his adventures. She just cannot win. But that is a breaking point that she needs to just give in and have some fun for a bit, as we get a montage of them going everywhere around the island. Oh, but when we come out of this montage, Brandon is in the middle of one of his stories and he says that he found Volcanion in the swamplands of Kalos. Dude, how come you get the Volcanion lore? What are you hiding? Genuinely though, I think that this is the developers making fun of the whole situation that Volcanion just does not have any lore in the video games. I don't know, I guess we can add this to the list. Volcanion was in the swamplands of Kalos for some reason. Literally the most Volcanion crumbs we've gotten this entire year since Pokopia. But anyway, that's about it for the event. At least Raifort got to learn a little by hanging out with Brandon and Sabi, and I hope that maybe she softened up a little bit more. Definitely her appearance in the main series video games was a really weird one, because yes, while she was the one to lead us down the path of finding the treasures of ruin, the way that she spoke and interacted was again very abrasive, and some people theorized she'd be like a hidden villain or something. I don't think that's the case. She's just much more interested in the past than anything else going on in the present. That is the thing though I love about Pokémon Masters, is that you can have these different characters brought together, and while you wouldn't necessarily expect an interaction between Raifort and Sabi to be something interesting, when you look at the actual concept of their characters, it's extremely fascinating. Because had Raifort met literally anybody else from Hisui, it would have gone a lot different. She just had to meet the person who knows all about the Snowpoint Temple and other legendary Pokémon, but happens to be the youngest warden in the Diamond Clan. But definitely another really fun one, and that brings us one more step closer to having the Legends Arceus characters in Pokémon Masters. So let me know what you think in the comments about this event, and if you're going to try and scout for either of these two characters. And if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hype it up as well if you're on mobile. But anyway, I should get back to my own historical studies and adventures as we continue towards summer. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Stardrock314, Neoculture Mimikyu, Christopher, Charizard's Plushverse, Tooth, Benjamin, Jackson Stefaniak, Oi Kareem, Justin Dowes, Reclaimer, Cosmo Zero, Alex with Shiny Hunts, Starshooter, Koi13, Cheez-It62, GatorKid509, TF, Mathiclog947, Taijirai, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, as well as our members' Discord server, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I will catch you all later.
Start your adventure together in the Pokémon trading card game Scarlet and Violet. Coming soon. Products sold separately, cards vary by pack.